Okay, so in the second part here, I'm just going to get the character set up. So one of the first things I want to do is go to project settings and maps and modes, and I just want to make sure that it starts on my startup level, which I think is called Test Arena. So really that's just a case of I don't want to have to load my level every time I restart Unreal, which is every morning. So let's just get this character set up. Bear in mind I am working from the Unreal tutorial. It's just got a few slight updates in it. So character anims. So I've already brought in the animations. So what I'm going to do now is make an animation blueprint. And I want to use that skeleton, which is the one that is automatically created. I shall call it, let's try not to call it link, let's call it something different. So blueprints, it's quite useful to put BP at the front of elf. Well done, Andy. So it's quite useful to put BP at the front of all your blueprints. You can find them, but I'm just trying to put them in the clearest naming conventions I possibly can. So another blueprint class, this time a character. So we're going to create a character class called elf. And you'll see the difference between these as we move through the tutorial. So I want to clearly name that character so that I can find it when I'm accessing various parts of the model. Okay, so I just double clicked it, so we have the elf character. So what I want to do first is I want to add a mesh. So I think I've just, so just down here under the skeletal mesh, keep going down, no, try again, a bit further down, there we are. Right, so link, so it's a bit pointless me calling it elf, I'll give myself away again. And then what we want to do is, I'm just aligning that character, and if we go up to compile, and then we want to use the, if you look at use animation blueprint. Right, so first of all I'm just making sure that I have got this in the correct orientation. So -90, so it's automatically locating it for me. Rotation, so I'm taking these from the Unreal tutorial, which I've given you a link at the bottom. So not 089, let's try that again one more time, -90. Okay, so this is because Unreal has a slightly odd axes set up. So anim class, we want to just find the blueprint, animation blueprint that we set up. We're working with that later. So adding component again, and this time we're adding a spring arm. This is so we can add the camera on. So this is very similar to Unity, probably slightly better, but don't tell anybody I said that. So location, just again take these values at the tutorial. Location 50, socket offset down to 30, and then we want to use pawn control rotation so it immediately snaps behind the character. And I think we want to add another component, which is going to be a camera. If you look over on the left, and then over on, we want to make sure that is a child of the spring arm, which it was anyway. So we can see that it's the orientation isn't correct, so again we need to just look at the rotation and location of the camera. So X position 0, Y position 0, Z position 0. Okay, and then I will need to rotate that by 0. Excellent work. Okay, so just look at the character movement. Let's not look at the character movement. Okay, so we just want to check the max walk speed. So under character movement, you want to check orient rotation and use control of desired rotation, which I presume means that it's all working together between the spring arm and the camera and the character. Okay, checking all that. Ignore base rotation. Okay, so compile it and then usually save it if you're clever. So I haven't saved it, and then okay, back over to max walk speed. Got that in the end, 200, and walk speed crouched 160. So we will be looking at these values in blueprints. So those will just do to get it set up. Yeah, always compile. So let's have a look at the animation blueprint for the elf, which is French for elf. Okay, so need to make some variables. This will be used when we are using the blend, creating the blend trees. So I think I need to create 4, 5. Okay. Finding it quite hard to press this button. So if you just left click on it, you can change it defaults to a boolean, which is a positive or negative value, or I should say a yes or no value. So we actually need to change those to integers, I believe. Actually, that's not true. I think they need to be booleans. So jog pressed, we want to check if we're going to be checking at some point whether the jog button is pressed and the crouch button is pressed, and we need to set these up in the inputs, which we will do in a moment.